Well, hello there, community. Let's talk about adding bots to PUBG. Because there was a recent dev letter, and they're genuinely thinking about, or not even thinking about, it's happening. They're adding bots to PUBG. Because the queues are dying, we're not getting games full, because the skill gap between noobs and long-term players are getting too big that we need bots to kind of make up for that. Before we rant on and talk about our thoughts, I think there's also positive sides to it, but let's read their dev letter first, and then let's share the ups, the downs, the whens, the maybes, the whys, the whatevers. First, dev letter. So, hello survivors. As happens with many games, we've seen the general skill level of our players grow significantly over the last 3 years. While PUBG veterans continue to hone their skills and improve, we're seeing more often that many newer players are being eliminated early with no kills. They definitely have stats for that. And oftentimes with no damage dealt. You've been telling us for a while that widening skill gap is creating a more and more challenging environment for some of our players, and we're now ready to talk about our plans to help with this. In an effort to provide more ways for players to hone their skills and be able to fully enjoy what PUBG has to offer, we've decided to introduce bots with the update 7.1. That's console for now, but PC is coming. Bots can have both positive or negative effects on a game depending on how well it is programmed. So let's go over some of the things we've been considering when programming these artificial aggressors. In a normal PUBG match, players often traverse a variety of terrain, including open fields, rivers, cities, and even mountains. Without getting too complicated, movement of our bots is governed by what are called navigation meshes. Think of navigation meshes as boundaries in which the bots can move within. For each of our maps, big or small, much attention had to be put into carefully lay out the navigation meshes of every corner of our maps in a way that prevents bots from throwing themselves off a cliff or something else that, while hilariously, doesn't line up with the intended functions. With these navigation meshes in place, the bots constantly look out for environmental hazards and work towards finding the shortest route to its next destination. Does that mean that for certain circles, the bots are always going to move the same? It's kind of like, I know, sure, you're going to create an AI and you're going to hopefully not make the AI always walk the same route. But that's what I'm kind of like expecting to see at some point. So it's like a milli circle. Bots will always do the certain rotation X. It's a whatever circle. Bots will do this and this. End of the day, players are unpredictable. Players can do what players can do. They're human. They do stupid things. They do whim of the moment things. They get influenced by a random shot in the distance, yada yada, things like that. So I fear that bots are always going to have a certain movement pattern, and at some point someone is going to hack PUBG, find out all the movement patterns, release them on Reddit, and you can literally just go bot farming. You know where they will come. You're like, oh yeah, in 5 minutes there's a bot going to walk between these two buildings. I'm just going to wait for him. Boom, free mats. Shooting. PUBG players engage in firefights across all sorts of distances, from clearing out buildings to those sweet long-range Kar 98 headshots. Whatever the distance is, crucial factor that makes shooting in PUBG fun is the bullet physics, and we wanted to incorporate that into the bots shooting as well. So instead of letting the bots hit its enemies based on rather simple probability, PUBG bots were designed to consider bullet physics when shooting. What this meant is that players will be able to dodge the bots' bullets if they use the game evasive maneuvers as they would in any other firefight. But of course, the computer would still be better at calculating bullet trajectories, so systems were put in to make sure that the bot's accuracy differs based on range. All of this was carefully balanced through countless iterations of balancing so that our bots provide just enough challenge and provide more ways for players to improve their skills. Again, humans are unpredictable. Humans can suddenly land the headshot of their life. They can suddenly have a cool aim moment where they're insane. But a bot will always shoot the same. On certain distances, as it seems. A bot will always have a distinctive shooting pattern, as it seems. So you'll actually know if you're fighting a bot or a real player at some point. And I think that takes a lot of the excitement away. Because if you're fighting against Jimmy Choo Shen, and Jimmy Choo Shen is a 10-hour player, but suddenly he has the star moment. Suddenly he pops off and you're like, oh my god, am I being shot at by Shroud? This is insane. Must be hacking. But it was just Jimmy. And Jimmy just had his star moment. But if you're fighting against bots, you might at some point actually notice, yeah, it's a bot shooting. A bot always shoots in a 2-3-1 pattern. A bot always shoots this mini bop 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 bop. A real player does pew 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 pew. So the worst feeling will be knowing that your opponent is a bot. I mean, let's be real. Some new players are like bots as well, but you know what I mean. Looting. Having the right tools can mean life or death for most players. With bots, we're expecting a general increase in the amount of kills, and therefore the amount of items potentially looted. If our bots have much to loot, it might negatively impact the balance of our matches. If our bots have too little loot, or loot that would be appropriate for the phase in a match, it would look unrealistic. Our analysts and game designers went through lots of data from our live servers to not only see what players generally loot, but to see what types of items players usually carry into each phase of a match. With this data, we have set loot targets for our bots, so that they loot and have appropriate items for each phase. For example, you see bots run in close quarter battles with an SMG early on, while engaging in more long-range SR DMR firefights later in the match. While there were many other factors that went into programming PUBG bots, these were the three we felt carried the most potential impact on a match. We hope that introduction bots will help players get more shooting practice and kills, a high average survival time, and maybe even the first exciting chicken dinner. Basically the full battle royale experience. As for our more experienced players, you're less likely to engage bots the higher your MMR is. In addition to that, there will also be the next evolution of competitive PUBG in our new ranked system due to out next month, which will not have any bots. One last note, this is just the first iteration of bots. In the coming months, we'll be implementing machine learning techniques to continue monitoring how humans play, so we can apply improvements to make our bots behave more and more realistic. So, the number one thing I have to say, instead of developing bots, why don't you develop a good queuing mechanism so we don't need bots? The worst part is probably PUBG queues currently. Why? Because the queue system is trash. So let's make a better queue system. The one reason we get bots is we have 5 maps and the 5 maps are not getting full. So you can play Vikendi, Karakin, Erangel. Miramar and Sanhok are not really being played, so either you delete those 2 maps, even though I love Miramar, or you find a better queue system. A filter system like CSGO, where you say I want to play Erangel and Miramar in TVP or FPP, queue me in whatever is possible. Something like not like just choose one map hard and then just sit there and wait. That's stupid. But we're here to talk about bots in PUBG. So for me, my very first reaction always was the fuck no. This is the death to PUBG because adding bots means you failed. Adding bots means your player base is decreasing. Adding bot means you're running out of people that want a game, so you need to add artificial opponents. As it is true that there are a lot of Jimmies in the game and a lot of new players don't have chance against PUBG veterans, what I don't understand is there should be a puppy protection. So in your first 10 hours of PUBG, in your first 20 hours of PUBG, you're only playing with up to 100-hour players. After your next 20, after you're done for 20 hours, which taught you nothing about the game more or less, you start fighting against more hour opponents. So the queuing algorithm for me should be after game time. So you try to put people of equal game time together. Obviously, for a 5,000 hour player like me, you probably have to have a range from 1,000 to 5,000 hour players, from 500 hours to, and so on. You know, at some point, the better effect doesn't get better with hours. It's just, you know, you actually get worse with more hours because you start doing stupid things. But that's what the queuing algorithm would be. That would be puppy protection for the people. So bots could help a newer player to have a better battle royale experience. Bots will not make you better at the game. That's the worst part. Bots will behave predictable to a certain degree. Yes, you're going to improve machine learning and so on, but I'm pretty sure you'll feel it's a bot. As that is, for a long-term player, frustrating, a new player might actually not notice it. So I agree, PUBG Mobile has it, bots, and bots get lesser the more games you play and you find real players. In PUBG Mobile, the bots do half the damage of a normal player. So you actually know that was a bot, which is a shitty feeling to a certain degree because you feel like, good, you killed someone, and it was like, it was just a bot. So now I'm going to play PUBG as a new player, and I'm never going to know if I killed a real player or a bot player. You could end up in a top 10 situation, you could fight 9 bots, win the game, still feel great about your chicken dinner, but you will never know if these were bots or not, because I doubt that the bots will be called bots. They'll probably be called Hank, Dave, Kevin, Günther, Harold, Jimmy, John, Chin-Chan, whatsoever. They will get real names so you don't figure out XXX Assassin 69 and things like that. It will definitely help to revive maps. The problem is Miramar is more or less dead in solos, in duos, in squads not. Does that mean if I queue in for duos now and I get 20 real players and there's going to be 80 bots with me, even on high MMR if I want to really play Miramar? Yeah, that's a big omega yikes for me. I don't see this working out. I mean, for newer players, yes. For older players, as they say, there are not going to be a lot of bots in high MMR. And in ranked, there won't be bots at all. But here it comes. I don't want to play freaking ranked in PUBG. I don't want to play with only sweaty nerds. I want to play with a variation of different skilled players that bring the real beauty and the real fun of PUBG. What PUBG is. 100 different skilled players having different skilled fun. Maybe same game time, okay? 1,000 to 5,000 hours. That says something about your experience, nothing about your skill, but about your experience and understanding of the game, hopefully. But I don't want to play ranked to avoid bots, because that would be the only option to avoid bots. I don't want to have bots in my match. I want to have real players in my match. I want to be able to play all matches. So for me, this seems like something that will definitely or maybe work for new PUBG players, but for the existing player base, probably for the long-term players that play the game for trillions of hours already since the game is out. Yeah, I'm big time sorry, PUBG, but that's another feature that's not a feature. That's like, I read it as a long-term player and I'm just like, yeah, that ain't it, Jimmy. That ain't it. That's actually turning me away. It's not turning me towards PUBG, it's turning me away from PUBG. Because I just see they still don't understand their queue problem. They still don't understand the problem of the queues. They just see we need our queue system and we need a solution for it. So that's our solution. Hell no, chat. What do you think? Give me some comments. Give us a like. Give us a subscribe. For me, this is a huge letdown. For new players, sure, new players could actually come back to the game and be excited about bots. I'm probably going to make a new account and see, I'll definitely make a new account. I'll buy PUBG again on Instant Gaming and save myself 70% with my key. And then I'll be fragging some bots. It could be funny. And then it's going to be sad. And then it's going to be very sad. See you soon live on stream. Have a wonderful good day. Thanks for checking out the content. Don't forget to check out the other Let's Talk videos and all the great Call of Duty games out there. Wish you a wonderful good time. Thanks for watching.